live, Johnny. It's full decon Thursday here at the house. Look, we're washing some wheels today. One of our favorite brands, Garage Therapy, is coming on. They're going to show us how to do it, break down each chemical in the system so you can understand. But before we get to them, Mr. Cologne, how's it going, by the way?
It's going well. It's good to be back home.
Good to be back home. You're finally back in the studio.
21 days been gone, but white walls, dope tee, hat. I'm ready. I'm ready to learn the system.
Yes, that old Conway shirt right there. He sent me one of them too.
Yeah, dude.
It's comfy.
He did it right, bro.
He did it right.
It covers the man areas and all. You don't even know I got them unless you look close.
I bet Conway designed it for his specific build. You know, if you get jacked like Conway, it looks real good.
I'll still like to do a bench press contest with Conway.
You think you can take him?
Pretty close. He's got that old school.
He's got
the
80 strength.
He still takes Flintstone vitamins and doesn't get diarrhea afterwards.
Yeah. He was back in the day when the vitamins really worked.
Squats and deadlifts, I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah, he's jacked. But if you didn't know, you know what we launched this week? Thor Japan.
Oh,
is now live. You forgot all about it already. Look, you over there dealing with wasps. He's got wasp under his sidewalks. He's getting stung.
I'm getting my wife is telling me to grab the hammer, run outside. Like, what happened? I thought I was gonna go to jail today, boy.
But yep, Thor Japan's live, up and running.
It's fun.
Starting out with some towels, some auto fiber, tools and accessories. Got some clean, some detail co. It's up and running over there. So go check it out if you're in the area over there in Japan.
Should be real good.
We need to learn some Japanese so we can talk to our brothers over there. Over in the land of the rising sun. Yep, go check it out. Also, got that Thor business program. Sign up, save big on all your favorite Thor brands and accessories, and join our Facebook group. Look, we got the House of Rex Facebook group over there. Obviously, don't promote it enough, so I'm going to start tuning it up, the promotion for it. So go sign in and join the Facebook group. Got a lot of fun stuff over there all the time.
Now that we got all the nonsense out of the way, I really want to learn. So the cool thing about today is not only do we have you, we have the creator. I can't say his son because that's kind of disrespectful. The creator and Jonny. Put him on.
Jonny, look right here. Maz, Jonny. What's happening, boys?
Good.
Jonny's not ready.
Afternoon, I think.
Afternoon. 1 p.m.
I'm ready,
over
boys.
here in the swamp.
Is that the most English hello ever? Good afternoon.
Yeah, yes. I was kind of confused as to why you're sounding like that. I was like, what's going on?
Hello. Toodle pip. Howdy,
how's it going? Johnny's out in the wild today.
How are you doing, guys? What's going on?
Hey, Jonny. Hey, Maz. Good to have you on. Hey, Jonny, you're breaking up a bit, so we'll get that figured out. But we're excited to have you on to teach us and educate us. I feel like we need more info, and people are ready.
Carry on.
They're ready. Look, so we're going to be cleaning some live wheels today. I think Jonny was supposed to have the maintenance level wheels, but somehow he got the disaster wheels, and I have the maintenance level wheels. So we flipped roles, but we'll still, stick to the game plan here. And Maz, I think let's start it off. We got a Decon soap, which is sold out at the moment, unfortunately, but that restock's coming in hot from Garage Therapy very soon. We got the iron oxide, and we got wheel shampoo V2. Jonny's still setting up over there. And I'm going to actually head out to the garage and get ready myself. So, Maz, take it away and start breaking down the chemical lineup for today's demo.
So, for wheels, we have effectively 3 products. And the 3 products are in the system effectively to give you different options for depending on how dirty the wheels are. Now, I think what's key to sort of understand is that the wheel shampoo is a maintenance cleaning product. And the reason behind wheel shampoo is because on high performance vehicles, you have carbon ceramic brakes. And with carbon ceramic brakes, you're not well advised to use things like fallout removers or high acid products. Now, and what you don't want to do as well is, if your wheel is protected, you don't want to constantly hit it with high alkaline or acidic products all the time. You want to maintain that coating. So we have 3 products that
So,
can
Mike,
help
can I
us
ask
out.
you? Can you give us an overview, and then do you mind if we bounce questions off of you about the wheel shampoo once you tell us about the rest? Because I have some questions.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, just don't let me just
All right.
talk.
The wheel shampoo, right? You call it a maintenance product. So say we have customers who come in quarterly maintenance or every other week. Would you just use your wheel shampoo, or would you go to step 2, which would be the decon?
It depends on the lifestyle of the vehicle, right? So if you have a customer that is doing, I don't know, 1,000 miles a week because they're on the road every day, they're going to collect different level of contamination, i.e. brake dust, let's say, than a car that sits in someone's garage and they drive it of a weekend. So you have to do the assessment first as to how dirty the wheel is. If the wheel is coated, then I would generally just pre-wash the wheel with a snow foam or a citrus, pressure wash that down, and then you just go in with your wheel shampoo, because it shouldn't need anything more than just that.
And then your decon, so that's your maintenance product, would be your wheel shampoo. Use it as you would maintenance, or assess the wheel first. But let's talk about these wheels. Walk through us what he's doing here and what you would use your second part of your system, right? Would you call this your second part of the wheel system, the decon shampoo?
I wouldn't say it's the first or second part. It's you have 2 ends of the spectrum. You have your high alkalinity, very powerful detergent, and then you have your pH neutral, or close to pH neutral detergent. So you've got quite a wide spectrum there to work with, and I would, whenever you're obviously cleaning a wheel, you want to assess it in terms of how heavily contaminated is it. How, if it's like the wheel that Jonny's doing, I would personally hit that first with decon 1 to 10 as a pre-wash, let that soak in for a minute, and then pressure washer it down, because that will break down all the greases, start breaking down that brake dust, and then
pretty hot out here.
Pretty hot out there, Jonny.
And then
it's hot here.
Yeah, and then knock off 90% of that brake dust with just the pre-wash.
Okay.
So then that enables you to go in with your wheel shampoo and mop everything up. If you've got sections of the wheel after that are really baked on, that's when you start reaching for iron oxide, or you hit it again with the decon.
Okay, so what you're saying is use the decon first, wheels like Jonny, right? You'll go in decon 10 to 1 for wheels. You can use that for wheels and tires, right?
Correct, yeah.
Then if you hit up the wheel shampoo, if you need it, if you see that it's baked on iron, then you're going to hit it with iron oxide. Can you walk us through your iron, because decon shampoo has many layers. Can you walk us through your iron oxide? What's in it? What kind of properties are in it, and what makes it so good?
Yeah, so most iron fallout removers will use what we would say TGA, or sodium thioglycolate, and you get different versions of sodium thioglycolate. And what we've done when we looked at iron fallout removers, the problem that we identified with them is they just deal with iron oxide deposits on the wheel. They're not very good really at breaking down heavy grease and other contaminants that you pick up from the road.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when and another consideration with our fallout remover as well is we don't want to have 2 fallout removers. So some brands will have 2 fallout removers, one for paint, one for wheels, with the one for the wheels being the higher concentration of TGA, and they might add a little bit more surfactants in there to make the TGA more water soluble. But I didn't want
See what
that.
you do.
I don't want to have two
Can you
different
see what you
fallout removers, one for paint, one for wheels.
Right.
So the way we got around that was we added the surfactants, or some of the surfactants that we use in Decon shampoo. And what that effectively does is that gives you a 360-degree clean. So not only are you getting the inorganic contaminants with the iron oxide particles on the wheel, but you're also getting everything else that you pick up from the road. The heavy grease films, i.e. oil, and everything else that falls on the road, gas, radiator fluid, etc., etc. So you're getting a more 360-degree clean with it. And the fact that it's obviously really, really concentrated. As you know, we don't skimp on concentration of products.
So can you dilute your iron oxide for all those? I want to ask these important questions. They come up often. Can I use iron oxide for, you know how in the US we tend to use like a clay mitt, and we use like a chemical decon with the mechanical? Can we use it for the paint, like you said? Yes.
Well, you can. So you can dilute it 1-to-1 if you really wanted to. But my rebuttal to that is, why do you want to reduce the effectiveness of the acid?
Okay, so you want to use it straight for the paint as well. It has a lot of lubricious. It's pretty lubricious, your iron oxide.
Yeah.
Right, because it's got that shampoo built into it, so it's got that cleansing surfactant. So I can see that adding to the slickness of it.
Yeah. So what Johnny's doing there in that picture is
what is Johnny using over here?
He's using a Tornado. So Johnny, so what he's done there is he's treated the wheel with iron oxide, and then he's used 5 ml of wheel shampoo in the Tornado to 995. Oh, is that Decon? Okay, he's used Decon shampoo. So 5 ml of that.
Yeah, he's got that disaster wheel over there. So I think he said over a year it hasn't been cleaned.
Yeah.
And so he's busted out the decon.
Yeah, and he's obviously laid that foam on top, so he's getting double the
so I'm a business wanting to carry this. Well, how long will we leave iron oxide, and then you want to top it, or you want to spray on a foam layer of either Decon 10-to-1 or wheel shampoo to let it eat? How long would you let that eat?
So our iron fallout removers are a bit different to others. So a vast majority of iron fallout removers, a lot of their work is done in the first few minutes, and their work is done. Our one, because of the concentration, because it does have those other surfactants in there, it will last on the surface for a good 5 to 10 minutes if you leave it on there. What you don't want to do is let the product dry on the surface.
So you want to let this cook. Iron oxide here, everyone in chat, so you're watching this using GT's iron oxide. It's made to sit there and let it work.
Yes, because if I had the whiteboard, I'll draw you a 3D image of an iron oxide particle and explain how the acid dissolves. But the reason why you want to leave the acid on the iron oxide for as long as possible is so that it can eat around the particles and dislodge it from the surface.
Yeah, it's basically eating the barbs off the thorn. That's why it's stuck to the surface.
Perfect analogy, Jamie. Yes. So the longer it works, the better result you're going to get. Now, I want to circle back, Eddie, to what you're talking about, using it as a clay loop effectively. Now, I really disagree with some of the videos that state that if you want to quickly decon your car, you spray your towel with your fallout remover, then you start claying the vehicle, the paint, and you're getting effectively a 2-in-1 action. The problem with that is, scientifically, you're only using 1 or 2 milliliters of product on the towel. That 1 or 2 milliliters of product is not enough to break down the particles on the paint surface. There's just not enough volume, right? So whilst you may get bleeding here and there, that bleeding is not enough. It's not enough of an indication that it's actually doing a complete job on the paint surface.
So how would you position then, just so we can learn, right? This is all about learning. How would you position on iron oxide for us for a chemical bath, you say spray it, leave it, let it work, then spray it off, and then come in and do your clay with like a soap or a lube to get.
Yeah. So the my actual favorite method is actually Johnny Shield's method that he does when he does customers' vehicles. So he will spray a panel with 2 or 3 sprays, and then he'll spread it around with his obviously gloves on with his hands to spread that chemical over the surface. Then you're not using tons and tons of product, and you're getting complete coverage because you're literally spreading it around the paint. So I believe that's the most efficient way. That does go counter to what I was saying as to how much of that liquid are you getting on the surface. So you can do your traditional style of fallout remover on the paint, and like you done, Eddie. Pop, all over the paint. But you got to remember that with iron oxide, it's incredible. It's a very strong fallout remover product. So you won't need as much of it as what you would with other.
I know I've seen Johnny pull out, one of the soft brushes too to act as an applicator for the iron oxide.
Yeah.
If you don't agree with the glove on the paint situation.
Yeah, I mean it's got so much lubricity that the chances that you're going to swirl up the paint, I think, is quite low.
Like you would have to be a dumbass for it to swell up the paint. Like you would have to be real aggressive. You would have to have use common sense, right? Don't molest the paint, but there's no way you're gonna mess the paint up by spraying product on your glove, rubbing it on. I just never seen it. I mean,
also you're prepping probably for a paint correction if you're going in this depth of preparation,
correct,
as well. So
and you're not as concerned if you inflict a swirl or two whilst you're doing that process. You're not really as concerned. And that.
See that.
All right, so you got Johnny here.
I don't know if you.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I don't know if you've seen, look, so the process I've gone with is decon shampoo to start with, as Maz said. I pre-washed this wheel just because it's just been driven. The brakes are hot. Obviously, wanted to cool the wheel down. But like Maz said, if this was a static car first thing in the morning, no problem at all, right? You can literally just go on straight on with the chemical, blitz it, off you go. And then if you can see where I've agitated here with iron oxide, with the decon shampoo, look, you can see where my fingers have been, literally just working that away. That's literally pulled all of that off. And obviously now you can see we're left with just quite a lot of brake dust still attached there, which we're going to use the iron oxide. But just by a slight agitation here on there, that my fingers won't pull that off because decon shampoo's gone. But you can see just by agitating it with my fingers, how much we've removed off there already, which is
and
incredible.
You put decon shampoo in the Tornador, right? Was it straight, Moz said?
Yeah.
If I were using it,
so 5 milliliters of thick wheel shampoo into 995 milliliters of water in the shampoo. But what we've done, decon shampooed, and I've double tapped it with wheel shampoo to make sure that the decon shampoo, because it's a very aggressive product, that in this temperature that we're in right now in the UK, we're around 25 degrees, it's quite hot, that it would actually probably just dry that out too fast on decon shampoo and won't allow it to eat. So using the foaming method, we've got a longevity on the product sitting there for a lot longer, allowing decon shampoo underneath to do its thing. And like I said, when you mix those two chemicals combined, when you've got decon shampoo and wheel shampoo together, those two foams, the more chemicals you add to the system, the more bite you're going to get, and more results you get. And you can just see, look, those barrels that haven't been touched for a year. This is my neighbour's car, never washes his car. And that's pulled decon shampoo, just literally tore it off.
Nice.
Yeah, so
that's at 1 to, by the way, that's at 1 to 10. That's at 1 to 10. That's all. 1 to 10.
Yeah. Now we get asked a lot, why don't you have like a powerful dedicated wheel cleaner? That actually says let's call it just like, I don't know, wheel cleaner.
Yeah.
As a for lack of a better name. Because decon shampoo is so powerful as a product anyway, you don't need that dedicated wheel cleaning product. And that's the whole point. You made
this to be the Swiss Army knife of Garage Therapy's lineup.
Well, I mean, we call it the process accelerator because you can use that one product.
I like that.
Yeah, and Eddie will know that from with the IT background, but you use that one product to effectively make you efficient. And you could say, okay, well, fine, Decon shampoo is really versatile and you can do lots of different things. But, because of that fact, is it then not, let's say, class leading in the various categories in which you use it in? And again, that it doesn't let you down in that department. You're not sacrificing performance by using it at 1 to 10 like a wheel cleaning product. You're not getting a lesser product because using it on wheels. You're still getting what we would almost class leading performance.
Hey Maz, there's a question in chat because back to decon notes. So we know about the iron oxide. We know we wanted to let it dwell. So for the professional user in your shop, more time is better. For the panel itself, if you're going to do it traditional, spray 2 sprays, rub it around with the glove, let it sit, spray off. The decon shampoo, can it be used as a touchless wash?
Yeah, but that always.
See, this is the
I mean, I've seen Reggie talk about this on some of your lives as well.
Yep.
It's very subjective what a touchless wash is to people. Some people's touchless wash isn't the same as other people's touchless washes.
Yeah, they're all different.
Everyone's perception is different. So the answer is yes, you can, and you'll get pretty good results if the car's regularly maintained. If you've got a coating on there, if you keep on top of the contaminants and you don't let them build up, then yeah, absolutely, you can use it in a touchless fashion.
Right.
My argument would be is why would you want to do that? Because I'll ask you guys, and I'm not trying to trip you guys up, but what do you think? What factors do you think cause the degradation of the substrate and or your protection?
Higher pH chemicals, the alkalinity of a chemical.
Or what about you, Jonny? What do you think?
The degradation of, say, the clear coat or protection? Which one are we talking about?
Both.
Yeah. I think it all comes to more abrasion than anything.
Okay, so you're both right.
So,
but what I would say,
I'd say that's why here in America the touchless wash is becoming extremely popular because we like less touching. Go back inside kind of deal, get it washed, get it dried off. But go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Yeah. So what I typically would say to people is one of the biggest factors where you get substrate degradation and or protection degradation is the fact that you're not cleaning the contaminants off the paint. So a lot of those contaminants will ingress into the pores of the clear coat and they'll stay there and they'll just eat away at that substrate. Plus you get the UV light baking those contaminants on the surface, hot and cold.
Yep.
Right. And then
once those get deep enough, you're in trouble. Exactly.
So one of the best things you can do for your paint is keep it clean and get those contaminants off. And you've got to remember, you've got acidic components coming from the organic matter out in the woods or wherever you are.
Most plant matter winds up being acidic.
You've got tree sap, right? And then you've got all of the inorganic stuff that you pick up from the roads. So you want to get that off your vehicle. You don't just want to let it sit there. Now, that is, we're going deep now. That is the downfall of a lot of the pH neutral products, right? Because whilst you are cleaning the surface, you're not deep cleaning the surface.
Nope. Yep.
Which is why high alkaline products exist, and which is why now acidic products exist.
Yep. That's why acid washes are getting real popular now because we're starting to understand that we got to get the deep rooted contamination, where we think has been failure of coatings through the years might just be that we're not using the right soaps, the right chemicals to actually deep clean that substrate.
Correct. Yeah.
I think too. So let's talk about decon because this is Jonny. To give us an update, Jonny, what you're doing. Sorry.
What's Jonny doing over there? He's got a sponge thing on a stick.
Guys, I've literally got just a dirty sponge on a stick. No, I'm joking. It's this is a product by Sponge Guru that I've been working with now for over a year, and you've probably seen a lot of content on my Instagram. And like I said, it's been going. Sponges have been quite a difficult and sort of hard sell in the UK, but these guys have been in the pottery scene for over 60 years, and so they've been working in clays and ceramics for such a long time. So I started using these products as a joke, and the joke was on me in the end because they turned out to be absolutely phenomenal. Because look, If you can see this,
Nice.
see how dirty that is from that
Oh,
wheel?
yeah.
Let's watch how quick this cleans up.
And then what do you do
Wheel
to the wheel
shampoo.
so people know how you did that and how you're getting the dirt
Yeah,
off?
yeah.
Too?
I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that, big boy. We're getting to that, big boy. It's like the decon. So I've double
gotta
tapped
get a
with
sponge
decon
plug in.
shampoo.
Oh shit, that sponge
Double
did
tap.
clean.
Yeah, it's sponge.
Double tap with decon shampoo. This sponge is 6 bumps O, by the way. So I
Sounds good
relayed on
suave
another
sponge.
bit of decon. I laid on some more decon shampoo because I saw how effective my test area was working. Okay, so I knew that decon shampoo was the right chemical to use. Again, the same process. Wheel shampoo. Obviously, done my first hit on the tires, and now because obviously we're not going to be able to get a touchless wash in here. We're going to have to use some agitation. We're going to have to use some mechanical works. And so we're going in there now and just going in with the sponge guru.
We
Now,
did chemical and time. Like if we look at the chart of cleaning, chemical time, heat, agitation. Now we've moved on to the agitation.
That's right. And so the great thing about Sponge Guru, what you're going to love, and I know that Eddie's got some now to play with, is that you're getting feedback on the sponge all the time. If I compare this to using one of these, if you've got soft finishes on your wheels, every detailer, every valeter hates the mobile car washes, the tunnel washes, right? Where they use these similar materials to spin over your car. We hate it, right? So for me, I'm not a fan of these tools. Like I said, obviously when it comes to these type of wheels, look, the customer doesn't care about his car that much with the wheels, right? So we're not too fussed. But the difference between this, and this is this allows you to be more diligent because the surface area is better. Brushes just start flipping and flopping all over the place, and you're getting feedback all the time. So you can be more detailed as you go around. And like I said, this is where when I'm doing wheel cleaning, I mean, anyone would be lying if they do wheels and go back to it after they've dried off and said, what the hell? I thought I'd done them really well. And why is that bit still dirty? Do you know what I mean? So pairing these two combinations with wheel shampoo, decon shampoo, sponge guru, these kind of tools, you're going to get a result. And like I said, now we're getting a really good clean. And this goes to show that really you should treat these surfaces. The Gary Therapy system comes to play for me because that little bit of extra detail, that little extra bit of nous just gives you that sort of security for me, anyway, security for me that the lubricity's there. I'm just trying to reduce the amount of scratching and marring that I'm doing, and just try and treat the wheels exactly the same with respect as the body, basically. So the next hit I'm going to do with this will be go round the whole way round, backwards and forwards, 2 hits all the way round. And like I said, look, thought I got it well. No, I didn't. Look, see, again, thought I did it. No, I didn't. So again, it's hard to see these top areas, right? Sometimes you have into all these sort of areas. And so, yeah, this just, for me, this system, for me, speeds up my process. We love the word process accelerator, don't we, Baz? And it obviously always just helps me again.
Yeah, I've used those Sponge Guru products. We actually stock them on our store, nice. and they're actually a very good product. They use like a high density sponge with micro pores in there, so it's a lot safer than you think. We've done some testing ourselves to verify that those sponges are actually safe for paint, and they're very, very good. As with any product, regardless of how safe you think it is, it always comes down to you as the wielder of
let me try and break it,
the tool. And
try and ruin the sponge.
They are very, very safe if you use them correctly.
Well, for the sorry, go ahead, Jamie.
And strong.
Oh, nothing. I ain't had nothing. Like if you want some Sponge Guru in the States.
Just so the chat knows, because there's like 55 people watching for that wheel itself, because it was pretty damaged, right? You did a double tap with decon. I saw that you foamed that on. You did your thing. You sprayed it off because the wheels were hot. Then you foamed it on again. Did you add iron oxide at any time during this wash?
Not even started iron oxide yet, because I want to make sure I remove as much dirt off the surface so I can allow iron oxide its best opportunity to remove the iron rather than attacking the dirt. Is that right?
And Ma, so for you, seeing the wheel how it is right now, how do you feel like the process is going? And for the professional shops out there, what would you consider them to carry?
Yeah, I don't think there's much difference between a professional doing it and anyone at home. For me, the wheel cleaning process is the same. If we're talking about maximum efficiency and cost, then washing the wheel with decon at 1 to 10 is going to be your most cost-effective method, and it's going to get, as you can see there, that wheel
that's insane
come out.
for a
Yeah,
shampoo.
has come out.
It was brown, so
that
improvement.
is nuts for a decon shampoo. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's
now. So that will be your most cost-effective method, and then when you're treating the wheel with iron oxide post the wheel being cleaned, then as Jonny said, you're then allowing that acid to work on those embedded particles on the actual clear coat. You know.
So what are your thoughts, Moz? As you know, you do this for a while. You created this lineup. A lot of people in the USA do a little different, right? So some of them see the wheels hashed like that. They'll probably spray them off, but they're gonna hit it with a iron remover, let it sit, and then spray foam on top of it. Is there a perfect way of doing it in your opinion?
Is there a perfect way of doing it?
Yeah, because you see how we do it. You see how Americans do it, right? We're just
So the problem with layering the foam on top of, we're going to go a little bit deep into it now, and I don't want to speak.
Go deep, Maz. Go deep. Don't be scared, Maz. Go deep, for God's sake.
So the problem, the problem with layering foams on fallout removers is what you're then doing is you're diluting down effectively the product.
True.
So whilst you might visually see that you're getting the bleed,
yeah, great for Instagram, Moz. I had some great posts on.
That's it. Yeah. Whilst it looks great and satisfying, and the argument is okay, it's dwelling for longer and it's doing more work, but in reality, it's not doing any more work, and you're just layering another detergent on top of it, and in fact, you're probably reducing the effectiveness of the fallout.
Look at it go. So even after cleaning twice, Johnny's basically cleaned this wheel twice with the decon shampoo, and look at it light up from iron oxide.
Yeah.
Look how fast that's activating as well, Jamie.
Yeah, real fast.
So sorry, I forget your question, but the question I'm assuming you think
like a USA. Moz, you're answering my question in a way, but you could just be pointing. Yeah. Remember, we're it's like, you know how you like Mediterranean food? That's assuming, and I like Puerto Rican food, right? You probably eat my food, you'd be like, that tastes like ass. I eat your food, I'm like, I can't eat shrimp, I die, right? American people tend to spray wheel iron remover, let it sit, foam on top of it.
Yeah.
I just want to know from your perspective, what way can they get the most out of the products, right? Because we talk.
And I'm saying don't dilute it down further.
Yeah, so
spraying something on top, what you're doing is you're effectively moving the acid around more on the surface, and then you're diluting it again with that other detergent on top. So whilst it might look like you're getting more bleeding because you can visually see it coming off on the foam of the car, you're actually reducing the effectiveness of the TGA working on the wheel. So as a professional detailer, or I'm retired, but let's say I was a professional detailer, I would avoid doing that. I would let the product do its job, spray it off, and then do your foam and whatever you want to do after that.
Yeah, this is a great example. Going back to talking about substrates not being cleaned all the way. The detailer who only uses, let's say, the cheapest degreaser they can find at the dollar store, foams it on, cleans it, moves on to the next wheel, didn't fully, finish cleaning that wheel.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just
now look
back at what Maz said about the iron oxide.
Yeah.
Did you just see how? Go.
What I was gonna say is now look, there is advantages of doing that method, Eddie. Right? So spraying the wheel, foaming on top, letting it sit there, because it gives you more work time. So you can do other jobs.
Yep.
So if that works for your process and you like the results after that, then fine. I'm just coming from it from a more scientific perspective. is that you are reducing the effectiveness of the fallout remover by doing that. Now, I'm gonna caveat what I'm saying a little bit. The other brands is products where they do most of the work in that 1 or 2 minutes. Foaming on top of it probably is beneficial because you allow it to dwell for longer. So with our product, you're reducing its effectiveness by doing that. Now, that's not to say it's a bad idea. It just depends on how you like cleaning your wheel, how long you want to work on it, etc., etc. So
specifically, what's different with letting iron oxide have that longer dwell time with this formula? What's going on there?
Because it allows it to eat away at the embedded iron oxide particles on the surface.
That you're saying the other ones on the market might burn out after a minute or two, where your iron oxide continues to eat.
And there's multiple factors to that. Concentration is one key. So the percentage of acid you actually got in that formulation per mil will have a big effect on how effective that is to breaking down those particles.
So Moz, for a detailed shot for you, then there's a lot of questions because I want everyone to know this is not just for the pro. This is he's saying in general to get the most out of what you buy. Do these steps to get the most out of it. That's what I'm hearing Moz say. What for the wheel system itself, Moz? For a shop, just a shop, or say my dad wants to get into it. What are the 3 or 4 products that you suggest they get to do the complete system?
For wheel, the 3 that we're demonstrating today.
Okay.
So decon, iron oxide, wheel shampoo. And there is an argument that DMS would be a good product to throw in there every quarter to unclog your coating on the wheels.
Yeah, especially with the coated wheels. That acidic shampoo, demineralizing shampoo.
And or a water spot remover. Because it will have the same effect. Wheels get clogged too, believe it or not.
For sure.
Yeah.
Again, going back to all these years, we kind of were believing that coatings were failing early, and really it's just a matter of deep cleaning and unclogging and taking out the actual minerals with the specific products.
Yeah, because you get calcium, sodium chloride build up, magnesium chloride build up on the wheels. They, at a microscopic level, they will harden, embed themselves into the clear coat, and you need an acid effectively to remove that. Now, there is obviously an acid in iron oxide, but that is not the descaling type of acid that we'll get rid of.
Nice. Well, I'm going to start prepping for the more maintenance wheel and tires. Jonny rounds out the kind of disaster wheel he's been scrubbing on for a while. So I already diluted the pre-spray with Decon shampoo 10-to-1 in the IK Alk Multi. So the alkalines hold pHs of 7 to 14, so it can handle Decon shampoo no problem. Big upgrade there from IK. Next, Moz, we're going to dilute wheel shampoo into the IK foamer, because that's what we're going to do different than Jonny's. We're going to transition to the pH neutral formula after the pre-foam. You smell what I'm stepping in over there, Moz?
Yeah.
Wait, I want to know if Moz agrees, because I'm learning. Because I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. Now's the time to change the strategy.
So run me through it one more time.
So we're starting off with the pre-soak. I'm going to hit the wheels and the tires with the Decon shampoo 10-to-1. We're going to let it soak, do its thing, and knock off and rinse and knock off as much as we can at the very beginning. Then we're going to transition. I'm diluting wheel shampoo in the IK foamer now. For a maintenance level clean. And then after that, we'll come in with the iron oxide.
Perfect. Perfect process.
So dilution for wheel shampoo, we're looking at about 1,000 milliliters of fluids here. How many ounces of wheel shampoo am I adding in the IK foamer?
Okay, so I would say that if you're using 1,000 in your IK, you're overfilling it. You should be using half the capacity of the tank. So is that 750? Something like that?
Yep. All right, we're at 400 now.
Right. So, and then you want to use about 10 mil of.
Wait, did you say 10 mils?
Correct.
Everyone in chat. Everyone in chat. 10 mils. It's not 5 ounces. It's not 90 ounces.
You.
10 mils.
I don't know. That's
I
like a
don't
cat
believe you,
pool, right?
mate.
That's a wild.
Two catfuls, and just
Two
make sure you wash it
catfuls.
out. Oh, in the solution. Yeah.
How good's that
There
look,
we
mate?
go.
So
One
it's,
catful.
one catful is
my
about
daughter
6 or
sat here loving
7 at most.
Cool, isn't
Two
it?
catfuls washed out in the solution.
Yeah, just give it a good mix.
Mix
Using
the
the
cap
brush.
in there, dog.
Okay, I'll throw the cap in there too. Look,
You're
cap
wasting-
scene. We're getting all that solution. You got to be efficient, all right? I like that Maz is preaching efficiency here, all right?
Maz is preaching no waste money. That's what
Don't waste your money, all right? Look here. Use all that good stuff that comes in the bottle.
Yeah. Hard to see on black alloys, yeah.
So while he's diluting this, we got Johnny still cleaning the wheel over there. He's getting it perfect, but you saw the process from using a Tornador, decon shampoo to pre-wash, and he'll give us an update on what he's doing. This right here is, we'll see how Jamie's going to do it. Jamie has decon in a former 10-to-1, and the other one, he has 10 mils. 10 mils.
10 mils wheel
Make
shampoo.
sure, Jamie, make sure
Yes.
on the wheel shampoo that you've reached peak pressure. So the air valve
Got to make it
sings
look
to you.
good, all right? Look, gotta-
Now he just
We're
saw
We'll
ready
get
for
it.
this?
We'll get it all.
How long
pumped
that's
up.
lasted for?
Yeah.
Can I just jump in, guys, for just a second, just to
Jump
add
on in,
something? Is that
Johnny.
all right? So while you're doing this wheel, you can see I've taken a lot of time because obviously this customer's in for a full deep clean. So this is part of my deep clean service. So while you're doing this, you're in a position to be able to do 2 wheels at a time. Does that make sense? So while this is taking the other one, so you can jump around. That's one of the keys to being a professional, really, compared to a consumer, is being able to multitask on the job. And so while you can do both decon jobs of getting rid of the dirt, while you're allowing one iron oxide to dwell, you can agitate the other one and then backwards and forwards. So you can go through. So you can do 2 wheels at a time. Obviously, the wheel shampoo is going to give you some real insurance that the product's not going to dry out if you're getting stuck behind on another alloy wheel, right? So there's a little bit of insurance, and you can just keep topping that product up because, as you can see, look, this iron oxide's been on there for got it timed there at 9 minutes 30. So that's still working away after 9 minutes, nearly 10 minutes now. And it's still doing its thing. It's still dwelling. I've actually tested this on an Instagram live where I've used, just for a joke, which was the joke was on me, where I used iron oxide in the Tornador foamer, and Maz will be a test this on really horrible brake dust black matte finish wheels, and there was on there for about half an hour to 45 minutes, and I'm not saying I'll recommend that because that was a test, because these wheels are going in for a refurb anyway, but we and Maz were talking about it while we were doing it, weren't we, mate? And it was unbelievable to see how the Tornador foamer actually worked in that setting as well, to really give an unbelievable clean and keep breaking down this brake dust. So it just means you don't have to keep going over with more liquid, hit it again. Patience, let it cook, let it eat, let it do its thing. And we're going to show you now, when I rinse this off, how much of the finish we're going to get back now from this rinse off, and show you how shiny and how bright this wheel's going to look now. And then I'm going to go onto the back wheel and show you a different process, because the back wheels always aren't as bad as the front wheels.
We got a couple questions while you're rinsing that off, so we could Maz can answer
Go
these.
for it.
Maz, they want to know, for the wheel shampoo, it was 1,000 mils of water, 10 mils of product, right?
No. So for the IKs,
yep,
the secret to getting good foam in an IK is leaving 50% of the chamber free. To do 4 wheels, you don't really need 50% of the chamber. I think they're 2 liters, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me rephrase, because I'm thinking of the old IKs. So you want 10 mil per 500 mil of water, effectively. That's
so
the
20
magic
mils
ratio.
for 1,000. Got it. So everyone in chat, it's not 100 mils. It was 10 mils of product
per
for 500, 20 for 1,000.
Forward.
Correct.
All right, Johnny, can you show us that wheel one more time in the front? So
one more time on the wheel, babe. Yep, go for it. So just get in there deep fryer. My daughter's camera lady today. She's getting in.
Shout out to your daughter for doing all this. So everyone, look at that. What a change.
Look at that.
There we go. I'll get you in as far as I possibly can, guys. There we go.
Get on in
see.
there.
Oh, snap. Yeah, what a change.
All that iron that was on it. Oh, missed a bit. Naughty boy. Naughty boy.
Naughty boy.
Wheel the car forward.
No, you're washing the wheel like I washed the wheel. I would have solved that, would have kept it moving.
But yeah, you can see obviously where the iron was and how it was all penetrated onto the outer edges of that. And so, like I said, look, I'm very, very, very happy with that. And like I said, if I saw any of those little touches when I moved the car around, like I said, I'd always recommend, if you know, moving the car forward just to make sure you get that perfect wheel clean. But like I said, these wheels, like I said, honestly, they've not been done for a year. My neighbour's not really fussed about his car. And so you can see there's a big difference from that one, obviously, compared to the back one there, which is obviously still needs a little bit of work. So let me know what you think. I'm going to get that dried off, and then we're going to then show you how to apply tyre serum.
Right.
Over to you, Jamie.
That's the maintenance clean.
Over to Jamie here.
This wheel and tire. So not too bad, you know, not a lot of browning going on tire. Still dirty. We got some mud and dirt and bits. Definitely nowhere near Johnny's level of what he was doing. So we got the Decon 10-to-1. And this is just a multi-sprayer. And, ooh, look, still get some good bubbles.
Yeah, I personally don't like foaming Decon with an IK.
Holy
shit,
look
go to work.
Oh, my Lord. That's as brown as my skin color.
It's looking good. So,
because Decon in itself, when you foam it on with an IK, it's a bit too dry, the foam for my liking.
Right. So this is really, you can see how fast it activated and it's taking off just all of this. Look at this run down. I mean, it's really melting some good stuff off here. So a fantastic pre-soak. Let's make sure we get up here in the barrels real good. Out of direct sunlight, so I can let this work for as long as possible. And it's just going to town. I mean,
that's nuts.
It is brown. This foam on the tire.
That is wild. That's 10-to-1.
On a best case scenario, out of direct sunlight, that kind of deal. How long are we letting this eat?
It's a hard question to answer because it all comes down to your ambient temperature.
Best case scenario,
your humidity. I'm 5 minutes. Sometimes some people leave it on for longer. You just don't want it to dry. That's the only thing. If the wheel has got like anodized aluminium and stuff, then you want to get it off as quickly as, well, not as quickly,
right.
About 1 minute or 2 minutes at most. You don't want to leave it on there for too long.
We got some scrubbing bubble action going on. The bubbles are popping, the brown's running. I like the way it came out of this multi-sprayer a lot. So
can you do that again, just so we can see it?
Yeah,
I'm going to head back to Johnny because he's going to show us how to prep tires for tire serum, okay?
All right, we'll let this dwell and go back to Johnny. Look
at
that. That's just fun.
Thanks.
All right, Johnny, walk us through what you're doing.
Thanks, Eddie. So basically just a couple of panel wipe is really underrated when it comes to GT because, well, I say panel wipe is when it comes to GT because it's not one of those sexy products you go, I can't wait to get my panel wipe. You know, it's like, it's more the fact of like, but it's a very underrated product because I've used G-Technic, I've used CarPro Eraser, I've used other products, but what really fascinated me was when I was prepping a vehicle and I started to use this on a Porsche. And I started to do the rubbers around the trim, around the windows, and around the scuttle, all those rubber areas. And I was amazed on how well the luster of the rubber came back. And so I started to do a few. As I went down another rabbit hole, doing different testing, doing different things, phoning Maz up, and he goes, "Yes, I already know that, but you just confirmed it to me, like, you know, as we do." And so for me, you know, this technique came from obviously reading labels, and that's one of the things I want to talk about is that the garage therapy labeling is very, very, very strong and descriptive, and it gives you really, really a lot of help when it comes to the processes on the bottle, which is absolutely amazing. You can tell when you read it out loud, you can just hear Maz in your head talking to you. It's fantastic. So spraying this liberally on the tire, just literally what you're going to do is you're going to basically give yourself the best opportunity because tire serum is such a fantastic product. It's very stout. It's got a nice waterproof property to it. But as much as you think you've cleaned the tyres really, really well, you won't know how well they're clean until you use a panel wipe on them and degrease them. You're going to give that using that solvent, you're going to get the opportunity for the product to soak into the tyres and give you a little bit more longevity. And so if there's any dirt, as you well know, like any other surface of the vehicle, you know, and it's just, for me, it's just that kind of like, it's that nice little, I think it's a bit of an ego thing, if I'm honest. I just want to know how well I've cleaned the tyre. As my pre-wash, as my wheel cleaning process, as we know, has failed today, but on my best day, you know, prepping these tyres like this for a customer, I want them to sort of go outside the next day and go, do you know what? How good do those wheels still look today? You know, do you know what I mean? And it's that kind of thing. So, listen, do we all have the time to do these processes when we're doing valeting or just doing quick one-day details? No, every time you add something like this to your repertoire, it's always going to add more time. But for someone who's working at home, the consumer who wants to look at their car, and consumers always spend more time on their car than actually professionals, right?
Yeah.
So when they're in their flow and they've bought all their garage therapy products, let me just show you, prep this little sponge guru sponge applicator.
Ooh, that's
just dabbing on.
He got a ton of sponges, huh?
Just
someone needs to send us phone number or something.
Right.
I just got home.
Just layering that on.
I didn't send nothing. I just got home. Hey, so walk me through. I got a question for Maz while he puts this on. Maz, panel prep for the tires. They're gonna ask, does it dry tires out or is it good to go?
No, it's not. So one of the things that I don't like to do with tires is you get people using effectively various types of hydrocarbons like tar removers on there or mineral spirits and things like that. And that's no good for the tire walls because you remove the
very popular in the US.
Now tires are constructed anywhere from 13 to 56 different additives and silicas compounds within the tire. So whenever you're using something like a mineral spirit that's really powerful, you're leaching out all of those additives ingredients that they put into the rubber to make it what it is, especially the high performance tires. So you want to avoid that. Now, panel wipe has got multiple different solvents in there, and it's not as strong as those other hydrocarbons that people use on there.
Right.
So it will sufficiently clean the rubber without damaging it. Now, do you really want to do it every single time you apply tire serum? Only in your first application. Going forward, you just clean it how you normally clean the tire and just apply it. But this is the thing: you don't want to with tire serum. For those of you that have used it, you don't want to constantly strip off tire serum after every wash, which is why wheel shampoo exists.
Yeah, you want to. Did he? The question in chat was because Jonny blew up, and I can't hear you, Jamie, anymore since your pressure washer popped your mics, I think. But so we don't strip with solvent-based tire dressings. Have always used solvent to remove solvent.
How do you strip solvent-based tire dressings? That's a very good question. So you're right in that scenario. Then yes, you would want to use a stronger hydrocarbon to remove and break down those solvents. Try panel wipe. I think you'll be surprised by how effective that is at breaking down those solvent-based silicone oils on tires. Failing that, then yes, you're going to have to use a stronger hydrocarbon to remove them. But again, a lot of the statements I'm saying won't necessarily, it's not a catch-all, right? So
right, because it depends on what product you put on there, because there's some like, you ever bought a new, well, Maz, you don't, because it'll probably piss you off, but I go buy a Hyundai, they're going to put like some grease on there, and it takes the wrath of God to come out. I have to hit it with like 15.
Because what actually happens is that silicone oil, that solvent delivered silicone oil that goes on the surface absorbs into the tire wall. As the tire expands and contracts with heat, right, it will absorb it into that tire wall. So you take all of that dressing off, and then what you may find is that the next wash, some of it comes back. right? But you're right. It's even supercar dealerships, they do that, Eddie. They're not.
Every car I see new from the Ford dealership that I had, like I have a Ford Raptor, Ranger downstairs. I got to do after this. Looks like my neck during the summer. Permanent grease.
Yeah. It's we see it here in the UK as well. It's just the thing that they do.
All right, Jamie's back. We're gonna head to Jamie's because we have two people.
On time.
All right, so you did decon 4-1. Now you're doing car shampoo. This is 20 mils and 1,000 mils. Look at that, still
foaming.
No,
10. That was 10
mils.
10.
Look at that.
Yeah. There you go. That is the perfect consistency.
Look at that.
And now, that will stay there for forever.
so this one's pH neutral. Is there any benefit to dwelling, or do we just get back to scrubbing?
So it's pH 8, so slightly above neutral, but close enough. Obviously, pH is logarithmic, so we won't get into that discussion. No, there is no real benefit into leaving it a long amount of time. The surfactants that we've chosen for this product are all contact based, so they do a lot of their work when you agitate.
Lots of lubrication.
That's good to know. We didn't know that. I didn't know that, Moz.
Nice.
I didn't know that it was the wheel shampoo. Actually, agitation causes it to do its job.
Yeah.
Boom. Give the tire a quick scrub. Decon. I mean, this tire looks super clean just from the Decon pre-spray. A quick scrub to knock off any residual dirt on the tire.
So I'm just going to jump in here, guys. I've got the back wheels here, which obviously always are, being honest, I should have done it the other way around. The back wheels here on the vehicle are always going to be the training wheels, so they're going to have less dirt to remove and less brake dust on them. So what we're going to do with this one, in slightly different process, I'm going to use the iron oxide to use as just a straight pre-wash on the vehicle, just to show you exactly how powerful that is on this back wheel, rather than going through the decon shampoo, the wheel shampoo. We're going to cut straight into a non-rinsed. All those steps, we're going to miss all those steps. We're going to process accelerate, aren't we, Maz?
Well, yeah, I think that's a key point. Like, we have the wheel cleaning system.
Watch this go.
Pretty straightforward. You have to assess the wheel and how dirty it is as to what tool you're going to use at the time. So
I'll never ever use.
You don't have to
use. By the way.
Yeah, you don't have to use decon, then wheel, and then iron oxide every time you clean the wheel. You can just use wheel, or you can just use iron oxide, or you can just use decon. What I would say is, when you're in maintenance mode, use the maintenance product as much as possible, especially if you've coated your wheel.
And therein lies the system. Therein lies the system 0, 1, 2, and 3.
And another thing to note as well is that you want to then use the more powerful chemicals every third or fourth wash, just to stave off that microscopic contaminant build-up out of the pores of the substrate.
Hey, Ryan, so Moz answered this earlier, but I know you just got on. So he says it's better off cleaning the wheels with decon 10-1 to get the most out of it, and then use iron oxide to come in, so you let that dwell and do its work, so you're not diluting the product. No, that's a good question. Just in case you're on here, how he did it before, it's the way Moz said you get the most out of the product. If it's real bad, decon, let it sit. You could scrub it, foam it, rinse it off, then come back and use iron oxide and let it work.
Mm-hmm. And Johnny likes a good sponge. I like going too. And what we do have in the house rags is the New York Foam Kings, them blue sharks are the perfect tool getting them lug nuts. This is my favorite lug nut.
Oh, see, Jamie, we're pros here. If we could drop a brand into a video, we'll do it, won't we, mate?
You gotta squeeze them in, Johnny. Look, no, for real though. This is like when this got in the store, game over. This is a different level of lug nut cleaner right there.
We have to try sponge gurus when we get them, or when I send it to you.
Yeah, send them over, Johnny, and we'll test them.
I already have them. I just got home. Look, Moz, I just got home like 3 days ago. I had like 90 boxes. All right, who am I going to? Johnny, am I coming back to you, or do we finish? Jamie finishes washing this wheel.
Well, I just want to talk about something just quickly that's quite important. Obviously, that if you guys obviously have been watching this, and you might be watching this on catch up later, we do have a podcast on garage therapy where it is obviously going into real detail for about an hour on each product. And I know that sounds like, oh my God, like watching paint dry. But the feedback we're getting from the detailer network and from other detailers about the level we're going to, if you really enjoy your chemicals, which I know a lot of the House of Rags audience absolutely love the details. Oh, yeah. They really are good in the chat. They're fantastic with their engagement. They're fantastic with their support. So if you want to watch the podcast, we've got the podcast out, which is the behind the scenes about the garage therapy podcast of how garage therapy came to pass. We've got also got Will Shampoo. We've just done Citrus, and the next show will be coming out soon, which will be we're undecided yet. But Decon Shampoo will be a big show. But so if you want the idea behind the podcast was really, guys, was to basically, some people don't read bottles. Some people learn differently. Some people learn from reading. Some people learn from listening. Some people learn from doing. And so if you are someone who wants to learn from listening and you want to, and you're not one who likes to read bottles, then you're probably going to get into Maz's head and listen to Maz's perspective on how he created the products. And I think that's the key really is this brand isn't going to be for everybody. And as detailing is so tribal, you know, for me, I came into using garage therapy 3 years ago to sort of to see if the online YouTube content creators were doing were selling, or whether they were actually providing information. And 3 years later, I'm still here. I haven't gone on to another brand yet. So the thing for me is, it's about building the trust. It's the trust, and so that's why the system is 0. The system is maintenance, which is 1, and the coatings and protections with 2. Because, like I said, you can see already how well and efficient. And like I said, Maz, I can hand it over to you, because the different versions that Maz has had from version 1's, version 2's, version 3's is where the products have started to develop and move into a new space.
Awesome. I'm gonna watch Jamie finish his.
Yeah. So again, this was the maintenance level wheel. So we applied iron oxide. It's been dwelling about 60 seconds and no reaction. So that tells us that this has been a well-maintained wheel. We can go ahead. No need for agitation, I don't think, in my opinion. Miles, what do you think? We're just going to go ahead and rinse it off.
No. I mean, if there's no reaction, then rinse it off.
Good to go. So again, you won't need iron oxide for a more well-maintained wheel. But on Johnny's side of the screen, he needs a lot of iron oxide on his.
Hey, while they were watching wheels getting clean, Ma's question for you here is: isn't iron oxide meant to be a decon ceramic coated surfaces? I think you can use iron oxide on rims over and over. I guess the question is, can you use this on rims every day?
You can. Well, yes, you can. My argument to that is, why do you want to hit the surface every day with a powerful chemical?
Yeah, no need.
Yeah, so it's
just like on this well-maintained wheel. Nothing happened. It really didn't do anything because there's nothing to react to that it's designed to take out of the surface.
Yeah, I mean, so there's 2 angles to it, Jamie. So if you work the product in, what you would have done is you would have worked in the decon shampoo element into the surface, and you would have deep cleaned the surface. Now, is that necessary on that wheel that you've just cleaned? No, because it looks super duper clean anyway. So it's a little bit of a waste of time in that respect. But to circle back to that previous question, you've got to remember that detailing, there's best practices, and the best practice is minimizing the potential of damage. And that means that minimization of the potential to cause damage, not only is that from mechanical abrasion, i.e. you touching the car, but also the chemicals touching the car. So what you don't want to do with any vehicle is constantly over and over and over hit it with chemicals, i.e. let's say high alkaline chemicals, keeping it at a more basic level when you don't necessarily need to. Now, the caveat to what I'm saying is they'll be like, but hold on a minute, your snow foam, your decon is a high alkaline product. Yes, that's correct, but that's why you have different dilution ratios. That's why you have maintenance dilution ratios. So you always have to assess how you're cleaning the vehicle, what you're doing, whether or not you need to use the powerful chemical or not. I generally would avoid using iron oxide every single week, because I think, one, that's a waste of money, and two, with detailing, you want to get to the point whereby you've deep cleaned the wheel, then you're trying to maintain the wheel in that deep clean state and not let it get as dirty again in the future. So there's a lot of discussion in terms of like ethos and methodology behind detailing and why you should try and avoid using harsher chemicals when you don't need to, etc.
Yep.
Does that make sense? I'm just waffling.
No, you make perfect sense. Is Johnny back?
That was so as you can see, that rear wheel was just a touchless method. As you can see, there's no contact wash happened on there. You can see that I probably just wasted my whole time doing what I did on the front wheel there, because like I said, this back wheel looks spot on. Apart from a few tar spots, a few bits and pieces, that's the type of clean I really want when I'm doing wheels. That I know that my materials and everything I'm going to do when I go into contact wash is absolutely spot on. And so the big difference between the processes between the front wheels, the back wheels, the amount of iron on the front compared to the back, this kind of thing, you can see these back wheels have come up just fantastic. Now you would want to use and follow up on this. You wouldn't want to, because just have to follow up with this. Just rinse off iron oxide and think, I'm done now. That looks great. I'm off home. You do want to neutralize this with a wheel shampoo afterwards. So you would go in now with a contact wash with wheel shampoo to neutralize any of that acidic residue that'll be on there, which surfactants can live on the paint surfaces for a little bit longer than people may think. So, you know, we see that with the lug nuts when people go to roadside car washes, and you see that the acid will break down these areas here. So always the best practices is good that you just follow up with a wheel shampoo from your bucket. You get the extra lubricity. But yeah, there you go. Back wheel done, pretty much ready for contact wash.
Let's get beautiful. It's time for some Q&A. I want to thank all the men for suffering through the heat to wash tires. There's more questions here that we answer one, and I think a lot more come up. And I think this is where the educational piece comes in. You did mention that iron oxide can be used with the clay tile, but you gave us a reason why to use it by itself.
Yeah, so look, I think that method of decontaminating paint, so it's fine using it as a lubricant, but if you think that that's also removing iron, if you think that the fallout remover is actually removing the iron particles while you're doing it, as opposed to the abrasion from the clay, then you're mistaken, because that 1 or 2 sprays of product on that towel is not sufficient enough to cover the whole area, break down the iron oxide and remove it. It's just not enough liquid. So yes, you can. Yes, you may get good results, but is that the optimum way? No, it's not.
All right. Any other questions?
What's the chat saying, guys? Sorry, because I've been miles away.
I've been getting Moz to answer all the questions from chat, because they still have like the questions that came out were decon shampoo or when is iron oxide good to use, and I think Moz answered the bulk of those questions around iron oxide. Now that we know that wheel shampoo itself, it's made to be agitated. I'm just repeating. I got notes here. It's an agitation surfactant. So you foam it on, you have to agitate it for it to work. That's how you built that. And then
what's cool about that is I can back that up. Even on the tire, when I'd agitate it, you could see it pull. It didn't pull until you agitated it, and then it immediately started pulling off more dirt off the tire. So that was pretty cool.
Maz, this is a question for you. What's the difference in using decon? This is a matter of fact, this is a wild question. Everyone grab some popcorn. All right.
Where's popcorn?
You have decon, you have citrus, you have snow foam V2. When, where, and how do you use this? I know that's a more in-depth conversation, but this is the question we often.
I'll try and keep it brief, not to send everyone to sleep. So decon, you have degreasing and emulsification. Citrus, you have solvency power. And snow foam, you have a blend of all 3, but it's more geared towards breaking down the static cling between dirt particles. But with the snow foam, you also have a touch of delimine in there, which helps with the degreasing aspect. The snow foam is sugar-based surfactants. The citrus is dilimonene and some sugar-based surfactants. So snow foam and citrus are sort of the opposite of each other. And then decon's obviously heavy hitting, deep cleaning, degreasing, emulsification.
Can I ask a question on top of this question in for the chat?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios and you tell me what I use, okay? Doing a maintenance wash on a car that I just saw 4 weeks ago. There's some road film. Which one am I using?
A car that you saw 4 weeks ago. So I would either, well, it's hard for me to say because I don't know obviously the level of dirt, but what I would probably do is I would pre-treat it with citrus in a pump sprayer, and then either double tap it, as you would say, with a snow foam once I've rinsed that off, and let that dwell. Or if it's light soiling, then I would just use the snow foam.
And then I have a ceramic coating job, has a bunch of bugs, but I'm going to ceramic coat it. It's never been to my shop. What am I using?
Decon.
I have I'm asking scenarios because these are the questions you're going to ask me. So if you're coming back to this, remember, he answered these already, okay? I don't have a snow foam and I use rinseless. This is going to sound... Which one would I use as my pre-treat? I could just spray it off with the hose, and I use rinseless to do my contact wash.
So you don't have a snow foam cannon, right? So decon is king.
Decon is king, 10-1,
or less, 1-20, 1-20 depends on what you got mixed up. Yeah, I mean 10-1 is the heavy hitting ratio. So we do say on our website and on your website that you can use it at different dilutions. So if you think in your head that 1-20 is a 4% PIR, then if you use 1-40, that would be 2%.
Johnny's on the move again. Looks
Johnny,
like
what the heck is this? Johnny, you can't just drop products when we're talking citrus here, bro.
Hey, we ain't got that yet. What is that?
Well, I'll let Maz explain, because we get a lot of comments in the Facebook groups about why would you use trim over tire serum. And so my first port of call is obviously from a professional standpoint, trim is dilutable, whereas dash serum isn't. And so with the new product trim that's going to be coming to America very soon, you've obviously seen CarPro Pearl, you've obviously seen Chemical Guys, you obviously know the dilution ratios are very similar. Well, this is starting out for interiors at 1-20. You're going then down to 1-10 for exterior plastics and 1-4 for tires and engine bay. So why would you like to use trim? Is because for me, you know, when I'm doing my details on certain cars that are, you know, not, let's say, the prestige valet that I'm doing, and I want speed of application, I can just at 1-4, I'm straight on. I'm on and I'm off. So it's done and dusted. And some people like that. You know, some people like that.
Johnny, say I like the greasy grease. My dad's Spanish.
Yes.
So he likes it shine. He likes it shine like a diamond. Can I stack this to make it shiny?
Yes. Yes.
And watch this. This is what you're gonna love. This is the separator between them all. Watch this. Nothing.
Nothing. Look at that.
That looks like a clean tire.
That was like 10 seconds.
Nice. So Maz, for the trim, we don't have it yet, but we'll have another podcast to talk about that. What will you use for a more shiny tire?
You can dilute it however you wish. I mean, on the bottle we say 1-4. It depends on the compound of the tire. So if you're using, so as an example, if you're using like Michelin PS4Ss or Cup 2s or Pirelli Corsas, Trofeo Rs and all that, the performance tires, then what you will find is the trim won't absorb into the sidewalls as well as something like tire serum would. There's various reasons for that. On a more budget tire, then you may need to go a bit stronger than 1-4. I think that's quite rare. I would just spray a lot more of it on, let it sit on there and then work it in. That tire that Jonny just did seems like quite a thirsty tire, so it absorbed a lot of that. It literally absorbed it straight away. So that needs a lot more work in terms of nourishment. But what you'll see, we're really close to calling it trim serum. Really, really close, but we avoided it because the ethos of trim is a dressing, and it's designed to sit on top. That doesn't mean that it won't absorb into the surfaces, because we add some magic in there that we've learned from our other products in the range. But it's as Jonny said, it's a more economical way of dressing tires. I personally don't like it for tires, but I've got very particular likes and dislikes.
Right, Maz, but we're targeting the shop that does say 20 cars a day. They use trim. They can dilute it 3 bottles, let it ride. They carry the same product for the interior, exterior, and
I mean,
let it ride.
It's so strong and dilutable, Eddie, that I think that people are going to be blown away by it. To be honest with you, they will. I don't want to name other brands. I want to be respectful to the other brands, but it's up to like 4 or 5 times as concentrated as certain other brands in the market. So yeah,
nice.
But it's ultimately the product will do the talking, not whether I say it's good or not.
When it gets here to the US, we'll get you back on and do a deep dive on it. Give it the big release.
And we got still have about 58 people on chat. Let's questions and answers.
Any last minute questions? Get them in now.
I'm interested to know if everyone felt like they understand the wheel system now, because I get it.
Yep.
It makes sense now.
Especially on the wheel system. This is what we were breaking down. I think it's a lot more clearer for me now. And I like your methodology about it, like not claying and iron removing at the same time, because it makes sense, right? Going back to the thorn analogy, those barbs are embedded in that paint. They're really stuck in there. So you're letting the iron remover work, break those barbs down, make it more of a ball, and then coming back with the clay towel afterwards is going to be a much safer, better process.
I also like the fact that you gave us the decon 10-to-1 if you need it. I like the words "if you need it."
I like 10-to-1. I like 10-to-1 a lot.
10-to-1's wild. Then you have
clean
10 mil to 500 and an IK pump sprayer. You want that to foam, and then you want to agitate it. So for you're always using that at home when you have wheel shampoo, foam it, and then you have to physically touch it for you to get the most out of it. And the nuggets here and there, panel prep for the wheels, because it has solvents in it that break down any old solvent degreasing tire dressings. Or for the trim, like you see Jonny doing right now, you can use it for your trim before you put trim serum on it, or trim serum. Now you got me calling it trim serum. Gosh darn it.
It's phenomenal, by the way. I really recommend people to try panel wipe on trims. It does a phenomenal job.
Nice.
It saves a lot of time as well.
There's no telling what's embedded
in that trim. There's a question here for you, Maz, and keep the questions coming, because I think these are, if we can get these answered now, we can use this as a library for people to come back and read. So do we still like 10-to-1 for our decon foam and a foam cannon? Isn't that closer to 1-to-10? I'm gonna caveat this with depending on your pressure washer. Do we still think that is effective enough for stripping, or should we go lower in the cannon?
If you're trying to strip a old silicons and additives off a surface, the reason why let me wind back. Stateside, you guys love foaming on your soaps onto a car and then washing, all right? And that method has been the method you guys have used for a very long time.
Since 1798.
Since 1798. Now, if you're asking me, is that the most effective method to strip a product off, you're thinking about it the wrong way, because you're then introducing a foam cannon that's diluting the product exponentially. Once it's delivered, once you get that panel impact ratio on the vehicle. So we suggest on the bottle a combination of those two methods. 1-to-10. You can go lower, but you use it with caution, because it is a very powerful product, and we make no apologies for that. And we can talk about that, Eddie and Jamie and Jonny, another day as to why that is. But you would foam the product on 1-to-10, but then you would go in with your contact wash using the recommended dilution ratios, and that transference of the solution from the bucket onto the vehicle and then working it in with your mitt does a lot of work. So that's the step of the process that's really gonna, break down those silicons on the surface and waxes and whatever else.
So Maz,
polymers and
in
stuff
short,
like
what
that.
you're saying is it's better to use the directed dilutions in a sprayer or foam pump sprayer to get the impact ratio correct than put it in a foam cannon, right?
Yeah, because you got.
That's a difficult.
How do I explain this now? So because what and shout out to Built Hamber making people aware of this, but there's been a lot of debate, hasn't there, over the last decade or longer, as to what ratio should you use, panel impact ratio and stuff like that.
Yep.
Ratios is king when you're delivering it, obviously, on a panel, because you can control it a lot easier, right? So you know what 1 to 10 is, you know what 1 to 20 is, you can measure it all out, you can, you're eliminating that variability from your pressure washer, your GPMs, etc., on the surface. So you're right, Eddie. If you're stripping and you're professional, and even at home, let's remove the word professional, because I think sometimes there's this your process shouldn't change whether you're a professional or a DIY person. You don't just suddenly do different processes just because you're doing it at home or you're doing it in a shop. You should be doing the best process given your vehicle and your environment. So long answer short, yes, Eddie. I personally, if I was really deconning the vehicle, I would use my pump sprayer, spray that product on there, let that dwell. I know I'm getting a very powerful ratio on the vehicle. I'll then use my bucket, work it in, etc.
We got four more questions. That thanks for answering that, Maz, by the way. So if you get decon
this has been
foam,
great.
10-1, get the most out of it with the proper impact ratio. 10-1 in sprayer or foamer, pump sprayer. All right, Maz, this one. I use citrus, then foam to wash a coated car, and it all went flat. Good Lord, bro. That coated car. What can I use to bring back the hydrophobics? DMS, in my opinion. But you go tell me, Maz, what do you think?
So bring that back up, Eddie. What does he mean by foam? You mean snow foam? So he citrused the car.
Then foam to wash.
It went flat.
So think about it. He used citrus. He double tapped it. Citrus, then foamed it.
Still dirty. It's still dirty. Then the panel's still dirty.
Then it'll be clogged. Or his protections. Yeah, not very good.
Or that coating died.
Yeah. But okay, so now we're going to get into the technical
when he says
stuff.
coated car, that could be anything from a quick detail all the way to a ceramic coating.
So it depends.
Alex,
is he specifically, Alex? Are you specifically talking about garage therapy products or other brands' products? Because if it's other brands' products, what you then have to consider is what type of surfactants they're using and whether they're non-ionic, cationic, etc. So you've got different types of surfactants. Some of them are anionic, ionic, cationic surfactants. And some of those surfactants, so some of the surfactants that are more deep cleaning are sometimes cationic, where you're going to get a hydrophilic effect.
They'll wet out on the panel.
Correct. Right.
But I think he said he's using Garage Therapy. He has CarPro UK on the car.
Right.
He says he knew. How many years, Alex, is this? How many years has it been coated?
It's probably been coated for like 8 years. And
8 years.
So in that scenario, I would use DMS or our water spot remover to unclog.
Yeah.
I'd come back with some acid.
And decon shampoo would be if you got a coated car that's clogged like that, it's got full of stuff. A decon shampoo for me over citrus and snow foam. If I'm pre-washing the vehicle and rinsing it down, and I'm seeing that there's a flat behaviour before I've even put any chemicals on, I would probably then go straight into decon shampoo, and I wouldn't even use citrus and snow foam in that procedure, depending on with the coating. And you don't have to worry. This decon shampoo is not going to blow its head off. It's not going to just strip off all protection. It strips off any protection that is hanging on. Very, very, like the last day last week type of protection kind of looking. You don't have any worries about putting decon shampoo on a waxed car, on a coated car. If anything, it's actually probably going to cleanse it better. The paint pores are going to be probably going to benefit from that. So in those situations, Alex, I would skip the citrus, skip the snow foam, straight to decon shampoo. You could use it I would recommend it not foaming it on. I would recommend pump sprayer only, liquid pump, not foam. Spray it on from a liquid. A liquid will penetrate better than the foam. So use that and that'll give you that better dwell. Rinse that off. Then you can double tap using that decon shampoo again through the cannon. And then if you needed to, you could use water spot remover straight after the contact wash. You can even use decon shampoo to contact wash. If it's that flat, Alex, and you've got a ceramic coated car, you really want to hit it with everything you've got within the perfect dilution ratios on the bottle, obviously. And then obviously if it's still flat, you've got to use water spot remover and then go on with DMS. And if that coating's still flat, then it's dead. There is nothing left.
I'm going to be honest. 2 years Car Pro UK on that is toast. I've seen it in my personal opinion, 18 months. All right, next question. Is the only difference in Sigma ceramic sealant the durability, or is there more to it than that? All right, Maz, I see your eyes. Get them.
So
that's a whole. Wait. That's a whole. Look, can I just say those questions? That's the question I leave with on the podcast, and it's an hour later. So I'd love for Maz to answer that question, but that's.
I'll keep it short. No, they're not the same. They use different different additives.
Is the short answer? Yeah.
All right. They're not the same. Next.
There is some common chemistry though between them to let it stack on itself and stuff like that.
Right.
David Graham, for a maintenance wash, could you use your rinseless, or would you recommend to still use a wheel shampoo? I'm assuming he's meaning for the wheels. Cleans the hose off the street.
If you have access to water, then use wheel shampoo. But if you don't, then obviously in America it's different.
Yeah, in my personal scenario, if I don't have time to wash my car, I will use rinseless for everything. Now, that's not my preferred method. That's just the method I use depending on the scenario.
You use Garage Therapy's 1 to 128 on wheels. It'll clean your sins out your life. All right, go on this one. What do you recommend for uncoated wheels for protection, fellas?
Hades. Yeah, our wheel coating. Hades. Yeah, phenomenal product.
All right, fellas, we got Maz and we got Jonny on. It is UK time over there. I can see that the sun's coming down. I don't know what time it is over there, but
I'm surprised the sun was out today. So that was a bright, shiny day. So Jonny got a tan out there. I mean, the UK's bright and sunny over there today. I was shocked. Looking good.
Any other questions from these fellas regarding the wheel system, or Jonny? Do you have anything you want to bring up?
Yeah, no. Just first of all, thanks for having us on, guys. I've been looking forward to doing one of these sort of things for a long time, and like I said, there's so much complexity that I've been working on behind the scenes. I speak to Maz every morning. It's like we need someone to take notes in the morning now with the amount of stuff we get through, talking about everything and anything when it comes to products and maintenance and labeling and colors and even down to the silly things that the other day I didn't realize that the towels in Garage Therapy represent 0, 1 and the coating. So it's like, there's so many little nuggets that Maz doesn't say, because the marketing side of Garage Therapy is coming up to do my job now, if that makes sense, to get the knowledge and stab Maz's brain, eat it, and just fucking spit it out so you guys can actually understand it. But one of the questions that we got going back to iron oxide was what Ryan kind of just quickly on that in the chat that I want to go over is, he was saying about the clay bar in scenario again. I just want to reiterate on this situation with the clay bar with iron oxide and just basically spraying it on. And I'm using my gloves, which is a very Japanese method of moving the product around with rubber gloves on, because the rubber is a bit like your clay bar, your synthetic clay bars anyway. So don't worry about moving stuff around, because you should have done a good contact wash anyway. But the idea is that you apply it thinly, let it work, let it do its thing. I would literally rinse that product off, and then I would literally reapply it on my clay towel and then start to clay bar with it. Garage Therapy iron oxide to clay with, just like the Ivan LaCroix method, is absolutely awesome, whether it's Ivan LaCroix method or whoever's method it is. It's whether you use a clay towel, whatever your media is when you're using synthetic media, is really the surfactants from decon shampoo, and that makes that process accelerator of those two together. So yes, I would, in certain situations on some cars, you might not have a lot of flaring up, so you might not see a lot of that iron on the vehicle. So you could then go ahead straight on with your clay bar because you know there's not a lot of agitation to be needed. Second part of that is if there's a lot of flaring, then repeat that step a little bit more and those kind of things, just because I don't want people to get confused with or overcomplicate the process. Ivan's method is fantastic, but I definitely say I would recommend friction, a good clay bar, because you want to mar the paint. You want to mar the paint when you're actually cleansing paint before machine polishing, because marring the paint means that you're getting a good contact. You're bruising, you're agitating, and then you're pulling out dirt, which is why you get that staining on the clay bar. And so that decon shampoo that's in iron oxide, plus the power of iron oxide, plus a clay bar, you're getting a very, very, very clean painted surface before you go in with your machine polishing attire, basically. So I hope that ties that in with a little bit of the question we had earlier.
Thank you for that.
Nice.
Thank you so much for that. Guys, any other questions for Maz, for Jonny on the wheel system? Questions about anything that you might have used?
I just want to say as well that I know that I almost see it in your faces when you ask me a question. You think, "Fuck, I hope he doesn't go on for too long."
No, it's not that. It's
right, but what I would say is that the garage therapy system is actually very straightforward, right?
Very simple.
And whilst and when you do peel back the onion, as we say in the UK, you do uncover layers of complexity. And what that shows is that everything we've done is scientifically grounded. It's been tested to the nines. It's there's a solid decades plural of experience and knowledge going into these. We have outstanding chemists, and whilst I may give quite elaborate answers or extended answers to questions, it's because there's a lot that is missed when we talk about the chemicals and how important the processes are behind it. And I feel that a lot of people don't understand why we do things in the detailing industry, because no one really ever talks about it in detail. And that's why I'm here to share the knowledge that I've picked up over the years, and you'll find that I'll probably give a lot different answers to some of the experienced heads in the industry than from my perspective.
I love it. People love it.
One last question. We'll end here. One last question.
I just want to say one thing as well. If 99% of people don't understand the system, then it's not really a system. So that's why I say it's everything we do, read the labels. It's quite straightforward.
There you go.
I got two questions. Maz, the people asking about braces, that'll be the second question, but I want to get this question here. David Graham, what GT product for protection on your wheels after the wash?
So I do two things. So on my weekend car, I will either top it up with the quick detailer and or Sigma, depending on whatever I pick up first.
You heard it here first. All right, abrasives.
I love quick detailer.
Are you guys going to come out with your own polishing system?
Ooh.
So yes, we will. A couple of large companies have approached us to do that work with us. So I'm still considering whether we invest, we do it ourselves, or whether we work with experts in the industry to do that.
Nice.
All right, everyone. Any other questions? I want to make sure everyone's questions gets answered, and then if not, we'll end it here. Thank you, men.
I think that's a wrap.
No one else has questions.
Your whole mic just broke, I think.
Whose?
Everyone.
You just eat the mic.
The whole internet just broke. I don't know what happened. But anyway, that was Garage Therapy Wheel System. I think Jonny and myself did an excellent job with the demos. That was fun. and Maz did the explaining. So now you know. We're going to come back and do wash systems and all that good stuff. So I don't think we're not going to come back and tackle everything else as well. So bring your questions, write them down as you use the Garage Therapy stuff, and bring them ready for the future. And they can tune in where, Johnny, for more information?
They can tune in to the Jonny Shield Detail YouTube channel, House of Rags, and also Garage Therapy. You can go and look at the podcast. We're going to be doing more podcasts coming up very soon. More breakdowns, more shorter clips, break it down a lot easier, and hopefully, obviously, make detailing for you at home a lot more simple and less complicated so that you guys can enjoy it. Because obviously, for us professionals, we do enjoy the complicated, making things more complicated, which doesn't need to be done sometimes, but we'd like to make it more complicated. But we're trying to break it down to make it more simple for you guys. So hopefully we can come back soon and do another process, make it more of a wash and talk. And hopefully, the more we educate you, the more knowledge you have, the more we can collide on these same planets, so we can talk about the same things and enjoy those detailing processes, just like we enjoy modifying cars, modifying wheels, modifying these vehicles. Our thing is modifying chemicals and cleaning cars, so we can enjoy the experience together. And you can reach out to me on Instagram, by the way. If you've got any Garage Therapy product questions, go hard on me. I will love it. But trust me, I love it.
Yeah, he'll call you. He'll send you a
I'll call you.
telegram.
I'll come round your house. I'll give you a massage.
Once you start the conversation with Johnny,
when you talk to
that's
Johnny,
you, all right?
he is the funniest dude to talk to. The way he talks is awesome. Like,
when you get in here, you ain't getting out.
You ain't getting out.
It's PG today.
Hit him up.
Thanks for having us on, guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you,
man.
man.
I really enjoyed it. It was good fun.
Later.
All right, everyone, take care.